NJ.com and the Star Ledger welcome to the Rutgers Rant, your one-stop podcast for the Scarlet Knights, with your hosts Steve Politti and Rutgers insiders Brian Fonseca and Pat Lenny. Let's start chopping.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rant. Got a big show. Iowa week. We got to preview that game. We're going to talk about Basketball Media Day. We have a lot of thoughts. We were there for a couple hours. Saw the Scarlet Knights hoops team. A lot of mystery about this team. Saw it live. We've got opinions. And then not only are we going to make our picks, Brian, but we're going to have our first guest picker. This is exciting. Like, I know what it's like now. If you're hosting like a late night show, the booking guests, like that's a career for people. It's hard.
It's not easy. It's not a career I want to be in because we've had luck so far. I am not looking forward to our first rejection because I know it's going to sting.
Right. Well, they're going to be soft rejections. It's going to be like, I'm going to be out of town that year. It's going to be one of those. That's what we're going to get. So our first guest ever was Gio Rescigno from soccer fame. We talked to her after she literally slugged another girl in the face. We thought that would be a good interview, and it was. She was great. Because we're not very creative people, we're going from Gia to Gio. Gio Rescigno, quarterback, Scarlet Knights. They're in some tough times offensively. I think he's going to have an interesting perspective on this current team. And also, as a guy from, Minnesota, they're playing Iowa, playing Minnesota. He's familiar with the heartland.
He's from Michigan, but yes,
Michigan.
Close enough. All the same.
That's all
MI, same thing.
I don't know.
He did have, maybe this is why you're confused because I put this in your brain a couple days ago. His best game of his career was against Minnesota. And I'm curious to ask him about that because that was my first road game as a beat writer. Actually, that's not true. My first road game as a beat writer was Washington. It was my second road game as a beat writer, and I thought Rutgers was going to be a competitive team under Chris Ash after watching that game, and I was just a little bit off.
Right. I'm glad you told me that because I was going to ask him if he knew who Mary Tyler Moore was. But now that wouldn't make any sense at all because she is, of course, a famous Twin Cities legend of comedy and sitcom fame. But he's from Michigan, so that would be awkward.
I'm glad you brought that up as well because I sent this photo to you guys during the week. My girlfriend and I are watching the Ken Jennings run for Jeopardy because we live very exciting lives. And one of the questions, the answer was the astronaut John Glenn. I almost fell over my chair. I couldn't believe that. Everywhere I go, I can't escape this man, this titan of a man that I had no idea about until you and I went to
Did you get it right?
No, I wasn't even close. I don't even know what the question was. I just
girlfriend get it right?
No, she doesn't know who John Glenn is either. That's why we love each other.
We'll ask Gio Rescigno if he knows who John Glenn is. That'd be even funnier. All right. We're going to have him later in the show. Can't wait to catch up with him. Let's talk Iowa because this is a big game and we've got to preview it. Friday Night Lights. It's funny. We've talked so much about the Iowa defense versus the Rutgers offense. I think we wrote about it this morning. We've got to see this Rutgers offense prove it against a real defense before we can say, hey, they're back. But I want to flip it on you for a minute because I think it's interesting. And reading now about this Iowa team a little bit more, offensively, they have Mark Gronowski, who can become the all-time winningest quarterback in college football history at any level if he beats the Scarlet Knights. A kid who's been playing forever, experienced South Dakota State before he came to Iowa. So clearly, you're looking at a team that at least has got some experience to go on, some proven players to go on. I get it. Their offense hasn't looked great. It's never going to look great.
No, I mean, this is Iowa, right? Like even when they get this accomplished quarterback who's supposed to be the solution to all the problems, he's still having a brutal season. I think if they got Tom Brady at his peak, he would revert to the Iowa standard and this offense would just be a run 100 times a game and hope you can throw enough to win a game. It's a little harder to run a successful offense at Iowa than it was when he was at a powerhouse FCS program. I think ultimately this game is going to come down to which defense can get a stop. Can Iowa stop Rutgers' high-powered offense? Mm-hmm. Can Rutgers' defense stop anybody? That's the question that's going to be asked in the fourth quarter because I think this is going to be a shootout for good and bad reasons. And I think it's going to be midway through the fourth quarter. It's going to be a one-score game. The team that makes the big stop is going to win the game.
Right. Yeah. And I guess that's where the big concern comes. It's not, just that Iowa running game, Iowa offensive line, just big bodies again. we talked about it on the show ad nauseum about the not feeling comfortable in the Rutgers defensive line. I just wonder if there's something that Rob Smith can do strategically to at least make Iowa beat you with the pass.
Throw out some blitzes. They haven't really blitzed much in the first 3 games. They haven't had to. But yeah, something like that. But I just don't think there's these creative plays that they're hiding in the playbook that's going to magically fix everything. I think they just have to play better, right? I think they need the ends to create some pressure and get to Gronowski. They need the cornerbacks in the second and the safeties to make a play or at least not give up big plays. They're giving up a lot of big plays. And they need to. They're going to get pushed around by Iowa's offensive line because they got pushed around at times by Norfolk State's offensive line. That's just kind of the reality. Just minimize the big plays and try to get stops or do what they struggled to do outside of Norfolk State and make a big play, get an interception, force a fumble, or just become a team that wins games by punt blocks exclusively. That is the third option, which it's not impossible.
Who knows? Exactly. Hey, when these teams have played in the past, it was we talked about the punting ad nauseum, and I wrote about it this morning a little bit. It's funny because I bet you, and I wrote this as a joke, but if you went to Iowa City and you went to a supermarket and you said, "Hey, remember that Adam Korsak?" There's a chance the guy would turn around. Oh, you mean the Rutgers punter? That was incredible. They still talk about punting in Iowa and what Adam Korsak did out there when Rutgers went out there, 10 punts, like a 47 average. He pinned them at the 1, 3, and 5. But that's all Rutgers could do back then. We broke down the numbers, and it is pretty jarring what the Rutgers offense has done in 4 games against this defense. I mean, passing about 50%, 4 interceptions, 1 interception return for a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 600 yards, 6 different quarterbacks, none of them Gio Rescigno, it's just been a struggle, and I get it. Everyone struggles against them. Looking at, and one of the quarterbacks who struggled against them, Ethan Kaliakmanis, and 2 starts for Minnesota, lost to them the first time, 12-10, went back and beat them the next time, 13-10. They're more, when you think of Rutgers, when you think of Minnesota, Iowa, you can't even imagine 2 scores that would be more fitting for that than 13-10, 12-10. So at least he is familiar with the challenge. He says he likes challenges. Do you think he'll be up to the challenge?
I think so, right? I think this is going to be the game where they prove whether or not they're a legitimate offense, right? The numbers are great. 7 straight games with 30+ points is nothing to scoff at. It's one thing to do it against the teams they've done it against. It's another thing to do it to Iowa, which is the gold standard of elite defense in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last few years when they played Iowa and struggled offensively, at least half of that was because Rutgers was horrific offensively. Right now, if they struggle offensively, I think it's going to be because Iowa is that elite. I think it depends, obviously. If Ian Strong plays, that's a big factor here. I don't think it's make or break. I think it would significantly help Rutgers if he's able to play. Gun to my head, I think he does play. I would be surprised if he didn't. And if he doesn't play, I think it's a bad sign.
Yeah.
Right. You would agree that if he doesn't play, it's a bad sign because they're going to do everything they possibly can to make him play, to let him play.
Absolutely. And it doesn't strike me as an injury that he's out. I think if he's trying to go in practice, I think he's going to try to go in the game. That's how I feel too. Absolutely. Right. I do say that the short week doesn't help though. Not having that extra practice. I do wonder if he doesn't practice, will they, they're usually a policy. If you don't practice, you don't play. I just wonder about that. If you had an extra day, it would make a difference. I know it's only 1 day, but still, short week is the one thing that gives me concern, but I haven't heard anything to make me think he's out for sure.
Right. Right. And even if he's not, he probably won't be 100%, right? 1, they're 3 games into the season, and 2, he's dealing with something, right? But even just being out there 75%, the threat of him creating things will shift the defensive coverages, obviously, and open some space up for KJ Duff, who's shown an inability to make plays, for DT Sheffield, and for the run game, which we'll see how that'll look probably without CJ Campbell, right? Again, that didn't look very good. So I don't know. I think this Rutgers offense is legit. I know we'll know a lot more about that after Friday.
Yeah. And it's funny because you mentioned the run game. We haven't talked a lot about what Antoine Raymond's doing. 10 touchdowns in the last 5 games. He's becoming a dominant player. And I know, hey, Kyle Manon guy, we talked about losing him and what that would mean. He's not at that level yet, but he is a guy you have a tremendous amount of confidence running between the tackles, breaking tackles, just a physical bruising Big Ten runner. Like I think Rutgers is going to be able to run the ball against Iowa.
I would think that'd be a great sign. I'm not so sure about that. I think they have a really strong interior offensive line with those three guys coming back. They've all been playing pretty well, especially Kobe Asamoah. I like what I've seen from Antoine Raymond. I wonder how effective Jashawn Benjamin will be. This will be the biggest spot of his career if he is indeed the backup if CJ Campbell can't go. I think it would be an excellent sign if Rutgers can get some push against Iowa's defensive line, which is great, both at stopping the run and in rushing the passer. And that brings us to the other issue, which is Tyler Needham. Is he going to be able to go? If he's not, you're on your fourth string left tackle against, again, these linemen have played really well against inferior opposition. The only real team they played is Iowa State, but the numbers are really good. And if I was able to get the Ethan Kaliakmanis, put him under pressure, get him on the ground, that's going to significantly hamper how much Rutgers can score. And I think the only way Rutgers can win this game is if they score a lot, right? They're not going to win a rock fight. They're going to have to score a lot, and that'll be a big issue if Kaliakmanis is constantly under pressure.
Right. Do you think that's why we were seeing a lot of the short passing game against Norfolk State? Like, is that the mystery here? Trying to get the running backs involved, trying to get the tight ends involved, trying to do things that would take pressure off Ethan if he is pressured by Iowa. Like, I mean, there are things that this offense has not had to do. I mean, it's been throwing the ball downfield, basically 10 yards of pass. There are ways you can counter a good pass rush. You would think that, again, Kirk Shiraka he knows what he's got. Like, I wonder if we're going to see a different, maybe a more conservative, maybe a different offense here.
Yeah, and you'd like to, again, the mythical wrinkles that this offense is supposedly going to bring out during an Iowa game. It is throwing to tight ends, who I think Kenny Fletcher has shown an ability to be able to create some things offensively. Colin Weber is to be seen. I think it hurts a lot not to have CJ Campbell because he is your best pass-catching, in-space running back. I mean, Jashawn Benjamin can fill in that role. I'm not sure how much of a pass catcher Antoine Raymond is. I see him closer to Kyle Monungai than a CJ Campbell. But yes, to your global point, this is not a game where Ian Strong and KJ Duff are going to run 10-yard outs and get it free every time. Like, this is a game where you have to earn every yard. And if they're selling out and rushing a ton of guys and Kaliakmanis has to make quick decisions, I would think that the running back could be a pressure valve.
This is in the big picture. I guess you can't overstate it, but I think this is a very big game for this program at this point. Not just the opportunity to go 4-0, home game, generate interest, and you're going on the road. We've talked about like the opportunity to go 5-0. Again, Minnesota is a toss-up game too before you go to Washington, which is a better opponent, but not Oregon, like not the teams that are coming later. Just opportunity to generate some buzz here with a win here. I think it's really important. Might be the most important game on the schedule. Going to be a good crowd by all accounts. I think it's going to be a packed house. I think that's going to help. And I also think there's just a perception thing, when you beat an Iowa, when you beat a program like this, you put yourself on a level with that next tier. Like, Rutgers has climbed out of the bottom tier. And now you're beating the teams in this middle tier. Like, Iowa's been there forever. And not just middle, like upper middle, like upper middle class, like toward the top of the Big Ten, not toward the bottom middle. I mean, it's just another program. Like, you had the opportunity last year against Wisconsin. You didn't do it. Just as another shot to have that kind of, not a signature win. I think that's too strong a word, but certainly one of the better Big Ten wins in Greg Schiano's time.
No doubt. And I think it would be more of a signature win than I think we got a little over our skis last year with Washington, but this is a name brand Big Ten team, a team that you've come close against a couple times, and you're knocking off another team on the list. Last year, they beat Washington and Minnesota for the first time. Those are nice wins, right? Minnesota is not Iowa. Iowa has been to Big Ten championship games in the past decade. Iowa has won 8 games practically every year since Rutgers has been in the Big Ten. Iowa is a tier below the Ohio State and Penn States and Michigans of the world. So when you have them a chance to play them on a Friday night, you're undefeated. You're a 3-point dog, which is essentially a toss-up, right? Like, it's right there for the taking. At some point, you have to win these games. They call it a prove-it period for a reason. Like, you look like a better team. You look like you're taking steps as a program. At some point, the results have to come. So I think this is a game where it's almost more valuable to beat Iowa at home than it would be to beat a Washington or a Minnesota away. This is a kind of game where you have to prove you're at a point in a program where you could win a game like this. Because at some point, you have to, or else people are going to say Rutgers will never take that step. You have to take that step now. And to your point, being 4-0 so valuable, so much more valuable than being 5-1. If you lose this game and win at Minnesota, it just brings so much more excitement and attention, and will pay dividends down the road.
Absolutely. All right. We'll come back and make our picks with Gio. Can't wait to see what he has to pick. Can't wait. We have a guest picker from Rutgers and he picks Iowa. That'd be something. I don't think he's going to do that, but it'd be fun. Hey, he can pick whoever he wants. Better pick than Lanny. All right. Let's talk basketball. Look, we had the team in front of us, right? And we watched a practice, a spirited practice, got a sense of it. I think we watched we're talking about 2 hours of basketball. They spent, an hour, 48 minutes on rebounding. I'm exaggerating, but it was funny. We had to laugh a little bit. Talk to Steve Peichel. I don't know. Do you have any big takeaways from what you saw and what you heard?
It was very limited from what we saw, right? One practice is already a small sample size. They didn't play a ton of 5-on-5. So it's hard to take any big picture takeaways. I guess the feeling I left was what I entered there with a certain perception of how I think the team and the season will go. And I left roughly with that same perception, right? There's some different thoughts. I think Dylan Grant will be the best player on this team. I was impressed with how much better he looks. I think Zerno will still have a chance of being the second or third. I wouldn't be shocked if he is the leading scorer. But other than that, it's hard to take anything major out. I certainly didn't see Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey out there. I think that's very clear.
No, yeah, and there were a couple of things. I do sense a little bit of a chip on the shoulder thing. One thing, I think it's going to be a likable team. Like I talked to a bunch of guys. They're all very engaging. Like Darren Buchanan, a legitimately great interview. You can tell he enjoys talking to people on the camera. Both of the European kids, Zerno and Batalau. Is it Batalau or Bataloo? Batalau, I think.
Someone asked him how to pronounce it. He said it right in front of me, and I still don't know.
Still don't know. Okay, we'll work on that. I mean, I can't be the one who pronounces all the names correctly on this podcast. Come on, help me out here. I did notice he had the little arc. What's that called? The little arc over all 3 A's. He leads the Big Tens in that, whatever that's called. Look that up too for me, would you?
We'll do.
Talk to both of them. They're kind of and the one thing that I came away from, you go into this and in our heads, it's like, oh, how you gonna recover from this last season? This kid didn't watch a single game. He has no idea what happened. He was over in Romania playing in Italy. He's in Europe. He has no idea. What are you talking about? It came over here. It's not like he's fixated on trying to overcome what happened before. He's just trying to figure out. He's got a class in rock and roll and culture. He's just trying to figure out. American curse words. He's just having a great time. They both have fit in pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them, from what I understand, from what I've seen, are starting at some point. I think Zerno is almost a lock. The other kid got here a little later. I think they like those two. My questions remain up front. I look at Obole. If we had never seen Obole play basketball, you'd be like, holy cow, look at him. He just looks, he looks even bigger than he did last year. They fall though. Again, he is 200 pounds at 6'11". I don't know how that's going to work in the Big Ten. I guess he's their top shot blocker. I do still have a lot of questions. And one thing though, Steve Peichel seems to like the fact that he doesn't have a starting 5. I think, he said that multiple times. Competition in every position. Interesting.
A couple things. If it's the same rock and roll class I took with Val Azzoli, it is my favorite class ever at Rutgers. So I really hope he enjoys it. Excellent professor. Very, very fun, very entertaining, and I learned a lot. So shout out to Val Azzoli. I hope he's still at Rutgers. Second, yes, personality-wise, this is a great team. Chris Newell was excellent. He spoke
yes. Yeah, very engaging. Yeah.
Very engaging, very thoughtful, very good quotes. I think he's a guy I forgot to mention. He'll have a role just as a defensive stopper. A lot of high motor, I guess is the way to put it. He plays really, really, really hard, and I think he has the physical tools to eventually develop into, Chris. What's his name? Sorry, Steve Peichel. Forgot the head coach's name.
Yeah,
yes,
you would remember that one. Mm-hmm.
Steve Peichel told a couple of preview magazines that he sees him in the mold of Caleb McConnell, and I could see that. I could see that eventually down the line being the case. Right. I don't know. I think Steve Peichel is putting on a brave face, and I believe that he does enjoy coaching his team, certainly more than last year, being able to do so in the shadows as compared to, the circus that it was last year.
Mhm.
I just don't quite, and I agree with you that there's this chip on the shoulder. We'll prove all these critics
Right.
wrong. I think there's some sense that they were hit a little too hard even for last year, which obviously I don't agree with, but I think
Yeah.
there's some sensibility about the way the last year was perceived. And I think they want to overcome that and show that this program still has life. We'll see. I look at the roster makeup. I look at what I saw yesterday in practice. I think about what I've seen in the Big Ten over the past 10 years. I don't see it, but we won't know for sure until they roll the balls out against Ryder. And then we really won't know for sure
Right.
until they roll the balls out in Las Vegas and they play a real opponent in Tennessee and Notre Dame.
Right. Steve Pikel had two answers that cracked me up. One I thought was a great answer. One I thought was, wait, what? The wait, what one was when he talking about it's my 10th year. Some people didn't think I'd get past two. Like, who's that? Like, who's that person, Steve? Like, I was here. Like, I don't think anybody knew how to pronounce your name until like year 4. Like who's the guy coaching Rutgers? Like, no one paid attention until like they got decent. It was just so that was just kind of hyperbole there. The answer I did like, and like he talked about it. I think he's kind of figured out that he can't go in there and say like we're going to be good GPA and we're going to be we're going to help the community. We got good kids. He can't figure. I think he's figured out that people don't want to hear that in the NIL era. They want to hear before it. They want to hear or we win basketball games. And when he said and we get it, we got to get back to the NCAA tournament. That's our goal. I asked him like, well, look, you didn't make it with Dylan and Ace. Well, why do you think why would you make it without them? And his answer was, look, well, we made it before them. Right. And it was like we got there before. We'll do it again. Like it was sort of like a confident, hey, don't forget what we've done here. Right. We did it with Gio Baker. He didn't have any stars. We did it with Caleb McConnell. No one wanted him. So I think there was a little bit of that. I liked that. Right. That's okay. We're getting back to what I did here first. Thoughts?
Well, one, no one wants to hear about the GPA and model citizens on the team when it's not the NIL era. It's when the team isn't winning. When you're 31-0, you can tell me about all the great stuff,
Right.
the Boy Scouts you have on your team. Everyone will eat that stuff up. When you're 10-20, no one wants to hear that, right? People only like good people if they're winners. You could be a bad person and win basketball games, people will still like you. Right. Second, yes, I agree. I think this is the only proven formula they've done. I guess the question is, can they do it in an era where, you ask Steve Pikel about the general manager job and he's saying we should have done that 3 years ago. Well, if they're 3 years behind, are you going to be able to keep all these guys for 3 to 4 years the way that the Gio Bakers and the Miles Johnsons and the Caleb McConnells? That's an important part of this entire equation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. I did like when you asked him about Kelly's message. He said there's no message. The messages get to the NCAA tournament. I think that's the way these things should be looked at, right? We'll see. I don't know. I do think that he wants to win the way he knows how to win. I think that he learned last year that he's not comfortable doing it the other way. And though, let's be fair, I don't think he was going to have another crack at a Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey team ever again. So I'm not sure how many options he had, but I do think this is the best path to success Rutgers has going forward.
We don't want those NBA lottery picks anyway. Too much trouble. Kelly Zinn, we mentioned, she was there. She was at practice. She walked out, sat courtside, watched a good 45 minutes of it, seemed engaged, had a roster. Another example of her just being aware, being in the right places. Steve Pikel said a lot of good things about her. This is now that's going to be the next test. It's going to be, are you going to keep these young players, right? The ones that show promise this year. You kept Dylan Grant, but you lost, you still lost too many over the years. So is, this next class, they're confident in a kid like Lino Mark. If he doesn't play a lot this year, or if he has a role off the bench, are you going to be able to develop him so 3 years from now, he's your starter. He's your guy. That's going to be the big question. That's ultimately, a Kelly Zinn fundraising thing and a priority thing. Like, we don't know yet how Rutgers is going to raise money now with the new administration and where they're going to funnel that cash. Like, that's the other part of this. Like, is basketball going to get its fair share? Like, Kelly Zinn's saying all the right things about we are prioritizing men's basketball and football. Get behind that. But there's only so much cash to go around. And I think I know where most of it's going to go. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what she does.
Yeah, look, Kelly Zinn, I don't know what her thinking is. I don't know what the plans are. I know this. She was at an athletic department where football was king. She worked in the SEC. She knows where the bread is buttered, where the money is made. She knows where most of the money in a functioning athletic department goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have all those national championships you want in baseball, in gymnastics, in tiddlywinks. It doesn't matter unless you're good at football. That's where the money comes from. So I think as they build up the money, or if they build up the money, then the distribution could be more global. But I think until you have football at a stable place where it's consistently winning, or at least taking steps forward, you can't really be half in football, half in basketball, in or out. You got to go all in on football, I think. And I think that based on her experience, that's the direction Kelly would want to go.
Okay. Before we move to Gio, there's another Gio we could get. Wouldn't that be funny if our third guest was Gio? I forgot all about that. We could just only do Gios and Gias. Is that their fourth one after that? You get Gio
we
Baker.
Find one.
To find one, just keep going. Like that'd be some fan base and somebody just do that. Maybe get a geology professor. Anyway, before we go to Gio, is there one player? And it's funny. I've got a name. I'm curious if you've got a name. One guy that you watched and you're like, gonna have a bigger role than I thought.
No, I think the issue with that is I don't know what the hierarchy is, right? Like that's the thing with having no starters is that I'm not quite sure who are the guys. I guess I'll turn the question over to you. If tomorrow was the first game of the season, who is your starting five?
I think you would go with the starting five that most people would imagine, right? You go with the Bole at center. I think you go with the experienced guy. Dylan Grant's your best player. I think they're going to start Michael Davis to start the season. Although if you ask 4 different people, they'll have 4 different answers as who that should be. Like I heard a lot of people say, I like Francis. They're like, why wouldn't you not start Lino Mark? He's the future. Like I heard a lot of that stuff. I think Zerno is your second most likely starter. And I think Darren Buchanan gets the nod at the start. That's my starting five. I think you agree, right? We talked about this a little bit, or did you want to put Fall in there instead?
No, I agree. That's the starting five to start the season. I'm not sure. It's one thing to have your best five. It's another thing to have, a plan of like maybe you have certain guys coming off the bench because you want to keep a certain level. And I don't know what they're going to go with. But if you ask me what's their best five, who's their five that's going to end a game, I would go with those 5. I think Byfall has a chance of, or you'd hope he overtakes Obole by the end of the season.
Or you hope Obole's better than last year. Like you hope he's developed. Although at this point, I get it. He's like he is what he is at a certain point. But yeah.
He's 25 years old. Right. At some point
and Byfall didn't play in the last 2 stops. Like I get it. They're both those guys are. Yeah. It's limitations here.
That's the benefit for Fall being at Rutgers, right? Like he's going to play. So whether he sinks or swims, he's going to have a chance to play in a game because Obole's not playing 40 minutes. And I don't think Javonte Ware is at a point where he's better than Fall per se, though he is more physically ready for the Big Ten than Fall. Right. I don't know. I guess the interesting thing about this basketball team is that we don't know most things about them. Yeah. So it'll be a fun experience in discovering how things go through the first couple months of the year.
Right. Until they start losing games and then we'll all stop paying attention. But at least right now, there is some optimism. There's some, I don't know. Let's see the proof of concept. That's what I come back to. All right. No, I can see it. I can see what you're trying to do. We just need some evidence that it can get done with this team. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back with Gio Rescigno and pick the Iowa game. All right. We are back with Gio Rescigno. Gio, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it, man. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. No problem at all. It's great to see you guys as well. I'm excited to be back on.
Yeah. Still sporting the beard. That's good. Glad to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Like what? So tell what's going on in your life? What are you up to these days?
A lot's going on actually. I'm getting married on Saturday, so that's a big. Yeah, I'm actually back in Jersey now. Getting married on Saturday, which is crazy. Getting married to my fiance that I met at Rutgers in 2015. So pretty exciting time right now with that going on. But currently I live in Birmingham, Alabama. Actually, I'm a sales representative for Riddell Sports. So I'm stayed in the industry. I sell football helmets. I mean, pretty no brainer for me to kind of stick in that same, industry that I obviously know so much about. I wore Riddell my whole playing career. So it's kind of an easy transition there. So I'm down there. I've been down there since early 2022. I played ball overseas for a couple years after RU. And then obviously COVID kind of was a whole mess. But once I got done playing ball overseas for a couple of years, I went to down to Birmingham, Alabama. So I've been down there since, and it's been great.
Nice. Well, tell us about the wedding first. Where you go before we talk about that?
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it a Jersey?
Yeah, it's
Jersey
in
wedding?
Jersey. Yeah, typical Jersey wedding. My fiance's from Bloomfield. We're in New Jersey, so we're getting married here at Glen Ridge Country Club, and the church right next to our house in Bloomfield. So we're looking forward to it. Should be really good. We're excited about it. Obviously, it's a long time coming, as you can imagine. 10 years in the making. So we're excited about it for sure.
I used to play golf at Glen Ridge Country Club.
I just played there yesterday. They gave me a free round. That
Nice.
was the first thing I asked when we got to the venue. I said, "Do I get a free round of golf?" So, yeah.
When you guys planned out the date, did you know that Rutgers was playing on a Friday, or was this the Big Ten gifting you?
So, I'm upset about it because I have not been to a Rutgers game since I graduated. Obviously, with me being out of town and out of state and traveling and playing ball overseas, it's just falls were not possible for me to get back to Jersey. So we're coming back to Jersey in the fall. I'm looking at the schedule. It gets released. Iowa, we play Friday night. And of course, obviously, the night before the wedding, we have the rehearsal dinner, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to be able to make it, right? But last week, I went to the Norfolk State game, which was my first game time back at the stadium since I graduated. But yeah, I mean, I was a little upset that it had to fall on this week, but I can't complain because if I complain, not going to be good for me right now.
No, it's ill-advised strategy for you. Yeah, we at least have it. Can you put the game on the TV, the rehearsal dinner? I mean, what? Like,
I'll have it on
allow that?
Yeah, I'll have it on somewhere for sure.
Okay. In the lobby, the bar, or something.
Something, exactly.
I imagine the entire Rescigno family and her family are big listeners to the Rutgers Rant, so let's not get you in trouble here with what you say. What was it like to be back on campus, be at the stadium, watch them play? I mean, must have been a cool experience for you.
Weird, because it doesn't. I've been out now. I mean, it's 2025, 6-7 years. Time flies, and it's like once you go back and you haven't been back there so long, like a lot of memories start to come back, and that feeling of, because I associate the stadium with that feeling of game day and playing, so it's like it's such a different feeling for me, and it's just it's kind of hard to describe, to be honest with you, but it's a good feeling. A lot of great memories I have, obviously, of playing and being there and being a student there, and so it was really cool to be back. I enjoyed it a lot. Some things that definitely have changed. I feel like the game day experience in general, I think they've done a really good job with that in the stadium. I noticed that. I think that's really cool. So it was great to be back, though. It was awesome.
You must have been like, God, if I had KJ Duff, like there must have been some moments like when that kid DT Sheffield took off. You're like,
yeah,
I could throw the ball a long way. If I had a kid who can run like that,
yeah,
I'd have 4,000 yards, right? I mean, did you have any of those moments?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm very impressed with so far the playmakers that Rutgers has this year. I'm very excited about. I think that's definitely something that stood out to me is, and they kind of make an emphasis to kind of get these guys the ball in space and let them make plays, which I think is really important. It the one guy that always stood out to me when I was playing was Janarian Grant, and you guys obviously remember him very well. He was a guy that we wanted to get the ball to in space whenever we had the chance, and he gets the ball, you just never know what's going to happen. I feel like we have, maybe not, Janarian Grant is, to me, a legend, but I think we have some guys where they want to get the ball to some of these guys in space and let them make plays, which I think is really important to have because it kind of adds some of that finesse to the football that you kind of need to have nowadays.
Right.
So are you following the team like really closely? Are you watching every Saturday? Are you a nervous fan? Just what's the experience like being?
Yeah, I watch pretty regularly every Saturday. I mean, I'm not going to say that I get into the whole, who's transferred in, who's on the roster now, but I keep up with it just like as probably a normal fan does. I know I watch every game. I'm on Twitter looking at what you guys are saying, after games and leading up to games. So that stuff really hasn't changed for me. I still get very excited about watching Rutgers play. I'm in the South. I'm in SEC country, so I got to hold my own down there. And, when I'm playing golf with my buddies, I got my Rutgers stuff on Saturday. They got their Alabama stuff on. They don't even think we exist up here, but I still got to represent and put on for, RU, and I'm always going to do that. And that hasn't changed since, the day I stepped foot on campus there. So for sure.
At least there's some pride. There's Big Ten pride down there now, right? I mean, you can carry that with you.
You can. Absolutely you can. And I definitely talk my crap about that when I can, too, because they think the SEC is the end-all be-all. So, I guess rightfully so, right?
Sure. But I'm sure you've told them many times now, Rutgers is 3-0 and Alabama's 2-1. So, I mean, clearly,
exactly.
Right now, one team is better than the other. I'm not going to say which one, but the math adds up.
Yeah,
that's right. For sure.
Before we pick the Iowa game this weekend, I'm curious about some things about yourself because you brought up one interesting thing about playing overseas. Yeah. What is life like as a professional football player in Italy?
It's a unique experience. I think for me, I went into it with the mindset of I'm going to go over there to have an experience, to have fun, to play football, and it's going to be. I'm not saying football was secondary, but I wanted to be able to play football, but not have the stress of like, hey, am I trying to go back to the NFL or have a chance here or get film and maybe go to the CFL? That wasn't my intention or goals. My goals were to go over there, have a great experience, play football, get to travel the country and the world a little bit more. Obviously, COVID kind of made that a little bit harder because of the restrictions, especially in Europe at the time. But in general, I mean, it was such an amazing experience. I met some amazing people over there. I had a great time. If I could do it all over again, I absolutely would. And I encourage anyone that's in a similar spot to me where you're not really sure what you're going to do after football and it happens so fast where it ends and you're like, man, now what's next? And I felt like it was a really, a good opportunity for me to maybe continue to play football for a little bit longer and see where that takes me. And it happened to work out really well for me. Obviously, I went there in 2020, man. So it was right. I got there 2 weeks before COVID started, before we even knew what COVID was.
Oh, man.
And then I was in Milan, and then Milan was like ground zero for COVID. Like after China, it was Milan, and I was there. I got stuck there for like 6 weeks. So 2020 was kind of shot, but I decided to go back in 2021, give it another chance. And I ended up playing in Italy for 4 or 5 months, and I went to Germany for the last part of their season there, which was great. They really take football serious over there. They're very serious about it. They have a really good following of fans as well in certain areas of Europe, which I think is really exciting in terms of the growth of the game. That's why you're going to see some more games. I mean, you do already see from the NFL bringing games to Germany, to Brazil, and I think they're going to continue to do that because they really do have a big following of football over there. And whenever I tell people I played football in Europe, the first thing they ask me is, do you mean soccer? I go, no, I mean American football. So they get kind of, like, oh, really? There's American football over there. There is, and they take it serious. But, man, it was just an awesome experience. It really was.
Now, if your name was Ed Smith and not Giovanni Rescigno, were you a popular guy because of your background? As one plays on to another. Tell me you were. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so the deal in Europe is if you're dual citizen, that's a big deal over there. So I have my Italian passport. So that's a big deal because you're only allowed a certain amount of Americans on the field at the same time. But if you have a dual citizen, you can have more. So that's a big deal. And then plus, obviously with my Italian background, my dad's from Italy, right? That kind of already was a big deal. My family's from Napoli. I was in Milan, so the North versus South was the guys really gave me crap for that, but I gave crap right back to them. So we had a really good relationship with all the guys. But yeah, it was awesome.
Did you feel like Furio? Who he hates the. I don't know if you watched The Sopranos, but did you feel like Furio?
I watched it like 20 times, man.
Clearly, he's watched The Sopranos based on the reaction.
Well, I didn't want to stereotype, Well,
no, that's not a stereotype to me. That's actually a compliment. When Paulie and Tony are in Napoli and The Sopranos there, and when they come back and Tony and they're looking out the window, and when they're in Jersey and they get back and they're looking out the window and they're like, wow, like that's how it feels when you come back, after you're in Italy and you're in, Lake Como and you're in these beautiful spots. So yeah, for sure.
Cool. I just vacationed there this summer and I was like, why did grandfather Albert move? Like, what did he get on the boat for? He just stayed there. We were in Tuscany. Why? Come on. Come back here and have a bowl of cereal after having all the pasta I had there. Did you gain weight in Italy? Would you come back? Like, what was the?
No, I didn't gain any weight, but I did eat a lot. And, if you've ever been to Italy, which I know you just told me you have, the food quality is much different there. So you can overeat, but then again, you're walking around a lot. And for whatever reason, you just don't gain weight like you do here when you eat all carbs and fat all day.
And you know who told me that? Another good Italian person. Greg Schiano told me that.
Did he?
And I didn't believe it, but he was right. He was right. Yes. It's great.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's the same in Portugal. The food there is a lot heavier in Italy for some reason. So I can't really relate to you guys. You mentioned soccer. You mentioned Napoli. What's it like being a Napoli fan these days? 2 championships in 3 years, man.
Man, listen, I'm a big Titans fan, and I'm going to get back to Napoli in a second. I just want to, because I really want to express my love and passion for soccer, and especially Napoli, because I literally feel like it's I die every Saturday when I watch Napoli play because it's my passion and I love it so much. So I'm a big Titans fan, but and I've been like that since I was a little kid. But Napoli for me since because watching soccer in America growing up was not as easy as it is nowadays. When Ronaldo came to Serie A, it made it really easy for Americans to watch Italian soccer. So I haven't missed a game since 2017 or 2016. I watch every single game. I'm like, that's something that I'm so invested in that I cannot be doing something when Napoli's playing on the days they're playing. Like tomorrow we have a big game versus Manchester City in the Champions League, and we got Kevin De Bruyne, which came to Napoli this year, and he's from Manchester City. So there's going to be a lot of stories about tomorrow. But man, I'm so passionate about Napoli. It's I love it. So all I do is watch soccer, especially Napoli. So yeah.
I love to talk soccer on the Rutgers Rant. Politi and our former host Lanny, two Italians, not big soccer guys, but I relate to you a lot because my favorite team is Sporting in Portugal.
Yep.
And for years, I know Napoli for years was second place every year, so close to winning the title, couldn't get over the hump. Sporting wasn't champion for 18 years, and when they won, it was like the greatest day of my life.
I know.
So I relate to like that, and I can't watch soccer with anybody because I get so nervous when Sporting plays that. I lash out whenever they miss a shot and people think I hate them. It's just,
no, I'm the exact same way. I completely understand.
So I'll make sure on October 1st when our teams play each other, we don't communicate, but we can have a fun little bet.
I might send you a couple hate tweets, but that's okay.
I will completely understand. So hopefully it's a tie, so we're in each other's good.
Yes, that'll be fine.
Oh boy, everyone loves ties. Yeah,
that's a lot of fun, Steve. You don't get it.
I don't get it. Yes.
One last Italian thing. Does your family still own the deli in Jersey City?
Of course. Yeah. Salamoria Ercolano in Jersey City. Yeah.
What if I ever go? If Rutgers fans listening to this ever go, what do we get? What's the order?
Just ask for Natale. If Natale is there, tell him that I sent you, and he's just going to take care of you. He's going to give you whatever he recommends. He's going to give you. Now you walk in, you're going to see my jersey right there. I made sure. I told him. I said, put it in the front right there. No, I'm just kidding. But he does got my jersey there, which is pretty cool. My dad definitely facilitated that one. But yeah, he still got the deli there. I love that place. Every time I have a chance to go, I'm there. I got my Jersey stop. When I come to Jersey, man, bagels. I have to get, my bagels. I have to go to the deli over there. I got my stops, man. I definitely come to my, make sure I get my, my food when I come here.
Now, is this better than Chaffee's? Let's talk a little like Rutgers deli smack. Come on.
Listen, I can't go against the family. Never going to go against the family. So of course it's better, and I think Chaffee would say his is better as well, and I hope he would, because we're competitors. But no, I mean, listen, I've been to
FBI Rutgers players here.
I've been to Chaffee Deli as well, and I love his spot as well. They do a great job over there, and we still keep in touch every once in a while as well. He actually, when he was playing in the UFL, they're in Birmingham, so I got to go see a couple games of his when he was playing with his dad, which was pretty cool. But I love Chaffee's Deli as well. They do a great job.
I don't know if Steve has any more questions before we get to the picks. I have one more. I'm just dying to know when the last time you threw a football was.
Oh, good question. Really good question. So I actually do some private quarterback training in Birmingham, Alabama. So I don't do a lot of it, but I do some of it, and I work with a couple quarterbacks over the last couple of years. So I'll get the arm a little loose every once in a while. They might doubt that I can still throw, so I'll get a couple throws in. Or if we don't have any receivers that day, I got to throw the ball back. Now I will say, if I needed to play again, I might need about 6 to 9 months to kind of get back into the throwing shape because my shoulder started hurting after maybe 10 throws. And it's a real thing. Like if somebody after they retire tells you like I can't throw and it hurts, like they're not lying. It actually is a real thing. And so it is what it is. I'm okay with it.
You might just be getting old, Gio. I think that might be an issue too.
Hey, listen, I just turned 30. Don't do that to me. I just turned 30. I'm feeling old. So, I turned 30. I go back to Rutgers campus. It's been 7 years. I'm really starting to feel old, man.
I turned 30 next year, so you're making me really nervous.
Yes,
for
sure.
Hey, the way college football is going, 30 is not going to be old very long.
I know. Isn't there not a 30-year-old playing for Arkansas or someone like that? I can't even imagine playing college football right now. I can't even imagine.
Well, I'm sure your bank account could imagine playing college football.
Well, that's true as well. I know. I missed out. I was too, too soon.
Too soon.
Who was too soon? I'm gonna give a shout out to someone that was too soon. Hayden Redding. Hayden Redding would have made a lot of money in the NIL era. Oh my gosh, he would have made a lot of money. He missed out. A transfer from LSU would have made a lot of money.
You
missed
gotta
out.
talk.
I
We'd
tell
like
him
to
that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. We'd like to have Hayden on the show as well. We need trying to book him.
If he's not answering, you let me know. I'm going to get him the answer right away. No. We need to get Hayden on the show for sure. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's the best. I love Hayden.
I like this, Gio. You'll be our enforcer. If someone doesn't answer our calls, you're showing up at their door, knocking on it.
Yes.
And make sure, hey,
listen, I answer right away. That's one thing. I'm going to answer right away. So you need me. I got you. I'll take care of it.
All right. Now we need your pick. Now this is good because we're someone eventually we're gonna have someone here as a guest when they're playing Oregon, and we're gonna see some allegiances, right? Like when Penn State comes in and they're a 20-point underdog. You get to pick them though. So
yeah.
Who are you going with? Are you going with your Scarlet Knights?
So Iowa, I was interested about their quarterback coming into this year because, listen, Iowa is notorious for defense and they're notorious for their special teams, especially their punt team, right? They don't score a lot of points. They don't, they're not a pass-heavy offense. So I was curious to see if that was going to change this year because I know they had some hype around their quarterback, Gronowski. But it really, I watched the Iowa State game and it kind of looked like the same old Iowa, and not in a bad way, but in the way of they weren't really moving the ball well. I think they had 80 yards passing that game. So I think going into the Rutgers game here, where Rutgers has been at the last 3 weeks, I know we haven't played, a Big Ten team yet, and we haven't played really that big game yet, but what I saw from Rutgers was we did put up a good amount of points. Last week we put up 60 points. So I'm really optimistic about the fact that I think that we can put up some points this week where I think if our defense shows up and steps up and puts some pressure on the quarterback, that we might be able to hold Iowa to a similar game like they played against Iowa State. And I think if that's the case, I think that's where Rutgers kind of wants to be at. We kind of have that when you have that low scoring game, it's a certain type of mentality of team. We kind of had that when I was playing too. It's we had a really good defense. We ran the ball really well when I was playing. 2017 with Gus and Rob Martin and stuff like that. So obviously it's a lot different now with the offense. I think we're throwing the ball a lot more. We have a lot of weapons on the outside. But at the end of the day, I really like our chances versus an Iowa offense. It looks like they've been struggling when they played your Iowa State. So of course I'm going to take the Knights, man. I feel really good about this game. It's going to be a blackout on Friday night. I mean, I'm hoping the stadium's going to be absolutely crazy because I really think there's nothing better than that. So, of course, I'm taking the Knights all day.
Give us a score.
Oh, score prediction. I'm not prepared for this. I'm going to go 24-21 the Knights, and I think technically that would make them cover the spread if it's right.
They're getting 2.5.
They're getting 2.5. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So, listen, I'm going to buy down the points. I'm so confident I'm buying down the points.
Money line now. Yeah. You have to leave Jersey to make that bet, but that's good. All right. Not surprised, Fonseca. Are you going to go with Gio, or are you going to shade in another reference that he clearly will get from The Sopranos?
Well, I have been going back and forth all week, and I got to be honest, I don't know right now who I'm going to pick. I'm going to talk a little bit about the game, and at some point I'm going to land on a side. I think this game, as I said before, is going to be determined on which defense is going to make a stop. I am not entirely confident that if it comes to the fourth quarter, Iowa's driving and Rutgers needs to make a stop, that it can. I think this offense, though, is good enough that it can create a big enough cushion, a 10-point cushion in the fourth quarter, where even if Iowa does drive down and score, they'll have enough to win. So all that said, I know that was very confusing. I'm going to take the Knights as well.
Wow.
I'm going to go Rutgers 31, Iowa 24 for the biggest win. I feel like we say this a lot, but the biggest win of the Greg Schiano 2.0 era.
Wow. Now I'm in the position where I'm looking at quarterback Gio Rescigno, and am I going to be the asshole who picks Iowa? Am I really going to do that on this show? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm taking the Scarlet Knights. Screw it. You've talked me into it. I can't do it. No, honestly, I would be very comfortable making this pick if I knew for sure that Ian Strong was going to play. I just wish. I think he's going to play. I think he's healthy, and if he is, then I agree with you, Gio. I think they're going to move the ball pretty well against Iowa. I have seen this offense. I think is going to be good against good defenses. They've proven it 30 points in 7 straight games. I get it. They haven't faced a defense like this. I understand all that. They're not going to need to score 30 points in this game. I think they're going to win something like a 24-17 kind of game. It'll be close in the fourth quarter. I'd love to see this defense get a couple of takeaways where you would feel more comfortable with that. But yeah, I mean, the home field's going to matter as well. A 4-0 start. Let's see it. We all agree.
Lies as well as the fact that, and I could be wrong on this, but how many times have we had a quarterback that started for Rutgers that has had the same offensive coordinator his second year starting?
I think it's the first one.
I had five. So
that's amazing. I know that is amazing.
Then my point in saying that is I think that, and Steve, you kind of pointed to it where we've scored 30 points in 7 games in a row now.
Yeah.
I think as you go into year 2 with the same offensive coordinator, the same system, that gives you so much more freedom to play naturally and let the game flow. And trust me, if I can speak on that, I think I can, because like I said, I had 5 offensive, all 5 offenses were completely different, right? So when you have a same offensive coordinator in the same offense, I really think that as you get late, in this thick of the season now, 4 or 5 games in the middle of the season, that's really where, year 2, you're going to start to see, I think, things click, which I think we have. So, I think that's going to be a big factor in this as well.
The next time we have you on the show, we're going to have you rank the 5. That would be fun.
I would love to. That'd be great.
All right, Gio, we can't thank you enough. This was great. We appreciate it. Of course, the bigger thing for you this weekend, obviously, good luck in the wedding.
Thank you so much.
I hope everything goes smoothly. Are you going on a honeymoon afterward? What's the plan?
I'm really busy with work right now, guys. Okay. So I got to get back. We're going to do like a mini moon. We're going to go up to Boston, Salem, and hang out over there for a couple of days. Nothing crazy. Now I'm going to get back. So no big honeymoon. We might do something later, but everything should be good though.
All right. Congrats again. And thank you again. And thanks everyone else for listening.
Thank you for having me on. Thanks, guys.